Today on the Tearsheet Podcast.
When you want to place an order, you just text the number of the brand that you'd like to place an order from, and we have a combination of both AI and human assisted customer service, and basically, the order is processed in just a couple text messages.
Welcome to the Tearsheet Podcast. I'm Zach Miller. The industry talks a lot about omnichannel payment experiences. Everyone wants to service the customer wherever he or she is. But what if that experience doesn't look much like an experience at all? A channel that's left pretty much unexplored is SMS. There's one company, Iris Nova, that's pioneered payment over text for its Dirty Lemon beverage brand. Customers pick up their phones, send an SMS to the brand, and order their products through a chat interface. Given how familiar SMS is to most people, there's little visible architecture around the customer journey. Iris Nova's founder and CEO, Zak Normandin, joins us on the podcast to talk about payments over text and why he thinks in the future most big brands will have just a website and a phone number. We discuss the challenges of doing conversational commerce well and how he's positioning Iris Nova to be a future leader in food and beverage using SMS as a transaction channel. Zak Normandin is my guest today on the Tearsheet Podcast.
My name is Zak Normandin. I'm the CEO and founder of Iris Nova. We're a technology-enabled distribution company. So we started with one brand in 2015 called Dirty Lemon, which is probably our most notable brand. We've expanded now to 7 brands in the portfolio, and we're using technology, mainly a direct-to-consumer platform we developed, but also other alternative methods of distribution for these brands to reach the modern consumer more effectively. So we think that traditional beverage distribution is very antiquated, and we think that there's a better way to do it.
So one of the things I think our audience would appreciate hearing from you is sort of the payments experience that you sort of pioneered with the Dirty Lemon brand. Can you talk about what Iris Nova is doing there?
Yeah, of course. So, when we launched in 2015, we were really focused on trying to figure out how to connect directly with the consumer. So I've been in food and beverage for over 10 years now. And I was always frustrated by the challenge of having to rely on basically approvals from buyers, and I felt really far from the consumer, even though we were my company before this was another consumer brand. It's because we were overly relying on retail. So in 2015, when we launched Dirty Lemon, we were trying to figure out a way to bypass that and just connect directly with the consumer, build a relationship with them. And I started exploring, different ways to do that. And, I kept coming back to, in my research, what was happening in Asia with WeChat and Line and, some of the messaging platforms that were also being used as payment gateways. And I thought that was a really interesting way for a brand to connect with a consumer, but also, for a consumer to be able to purchase a product basically through direct communication with the customer. So we built a platform that was enabled by SMS, and it allowed us to communicate with our customers directly, process payments, and basically gather these insights that ultimately provide them with a much better experience. And now we're leveraging that same technology, not only for Dirty Lemon, but for all the brands in the portfolio.
So I know it's easier to visualize, but can you talk us, I guess, audibly through what a customer would experience doing, submitting a payment over text?
Yeah, so it's very simple. It's all common language. So when you want to place an order, you just text the number of the brand that you'd like to place an order from, and we have a combination of both AI and human assisted customer service, and basically, the order is processed in just a couple text messages. So our vision is that when you're on your last bottle of your favorite beverage, we think that we want consumers to pick up their phone and to text the brand and say, "Hey, send me more," because we think that that's the way that consumers want to purchase beverages. Typically, once a consumer falls in love with a beverage product, they just want to keep it stocked at their home or their workplace, and basically have ready access to that product. And buying beverage products in bulk from the grocery store, that's it's a very inconvenient experience. So we think delivery specifically for beverages is definitely something that's going to be, it's growing already, but it's something, especially with this kind of new expectation that consumers have around how they receive their food products, which is almost entirely, or it's growing every year. But it's expected to be the primary way that we receive food products in the future, is by going onto an app or a website or whatever it may be, and then actually placing the order and then having the product delivered to you. So we're building the infrastructure that supports that specifically in beverage right now, but we're not opposed to using that same infrastructure for other categories as well. And I think one thing to note is that the reason why this all works seamlessly is because we do all of the fulfillment and delivery as well. So we have warehouses in most major cities, and we're delivering same day or next day to every American consumer. So the deliveries are coming extremely fast, if not to your door the same day that you place an order. And all of that kind of contributes to what I know is a much better experience for consumers over what's currently available.
So that's really interesting. So do you, I guess, take from what you're saying, you don't see payment over text as like a feature. It's really kind of core to your offering. And is that true?
Yeah, it's one element of what we do. I think the SMS, obviously, and I'm sure you've seen this over the last couple of years, has become kind of a buzzword in marketing, and brands are kind of trying to exploit the channel as a way to sell more product. But we've never used SMS as a channel in that way. It's always been available to customers as a tool. I think that logging into a website, to place an order for something, or even downloading an app and then having to remember your password, all that. I just think that that's very inconvenient, especially when you want to do something on the fly. And SMS enables that in a really frictionless way, because it's a communication platform that everyone uses. So you don't have to download anything to send a text message. It works on every single phone that's out there. You could order Dirty Lemon products with a flip phone if you wanted to. And that makes the technology ubiquitous, and also, yeah, and then, just going back to the customer again, it just provides a value to the customer that is not being served currently. And then the value for the brands in our portfolio is that they're getting all of the customer data that they wouldn't receive with Amazon. So right now, the only established platform to sell beverage products through for beverage companies is Amazon. So if you want to sell your products at scale to to customers around the US, you're going to sell through Amazon, or you're going to try to do it yourself as a brand, which is a very inefficient use of time. So what we're providing is the ability for brands to receive or to provide the same service, if not better service than Amazon, to their customers, and also to collect more data on their customer behaviors and who their customers are, which ultimately allows them to better serve their customers.
So I guess in the wake of some of the work that you guys did, have other brands tried to use text for commerce?
To my knowledge, there are no other brands that are using SMS as a commerce channel. We were the first in 2015, and I think we maintain that position. If anything, we're bringing more brands on to use the same technology that we created. So, yeah, we think in the future that every brand is going to have a website and a phone number. So a website, to look at pictures of products and maybe watch videos. But then, we think that the majority of commerce is going to happen over messaging. And if you look again at other developed markets around the world, this is already pretty standard and commonplace. So consumers are very used to to messaging brands and placing orders for products over messaging. And yeah, so we're racing toward that reality in the US. And we have a great proof of concept in Dirty Lemons for it, and obviously growing proof in the other brands that are now utilizing the technology.
So I know you've mentioned this in the course of some of the other questioning that we've gone through, but like, can you unpack, I guess, what it would take for a brand to be successful, um, to embrace conversational commerce?
Yeah, I think the first thing that is really important is that most, I think when I hear a lot of people that are outside of our network talking about conversational commerce, they view it as kind of like money that's left on the table. So they view it as a channel that, like, so you have email, you have social media, and then they view SMS as kind of another branch of outreach to their customers. And we've never used SMS in that way. We've never sent outbound messages to our customers unless they place orders, and when they place an order, we're only sending them the tracking number. We're not sending them a promo that says, like, buy a case of something today and we'll you get 20% off or whatever. So I think that is the one misconception around conversational commerce as a tool. Is that it's not money left on the table. It's actually a fundamental change in the way you interact with your customers and the way that you do business. So being able to connect directly with any of your customers at any time is extremely valuable. And a way that we're utilizing that is, for example, we have really started to focus on cross-selling. So, for example, if you order a case of Dirty Lemon, you're going to get a can of one of our other beverages inside of your Dirty Lemon case for free, with a marketing card that that kind of gives a little bit of information about that brand. And then what we do is we'll reach out to the customers at random and basically say, hey, if you're willing to answer a few questions, we'll send you something for free. So our outreach is always tied to something that continues to reward the consumer. So just that access to the customer is extremely valuable, and open rates on text messages are extremely high. But we never message all of our customers just with an impersonal message. If we're sending a message to the customer, like I said, it's either for a tracking number or it's to offer them something free, with the goal on our side to gather information about what the consumer thinks about a specific experience so that we can serve them better.
Got it. And how much thought and time have you guys put into, I guess, creating the right voice or the tone that comes through in the messaging? How important is that?
Well, it was very important for the Dirty Lemon brand, and now that we have a lot of other brands that are using the technology, it's evolving. So some brands don't. Every brand has a different voice, or they should. And the way that we talk to the Dirty Lemon customer is probably not the way that we were going to talk to the Sanzo customer, which is another one of our brands, or the Minna customer. So that's something that we have to train our team for, and then we also adapt our. We have a pretty robust bot that handles a lot of common requests. So all that copy, is changed, by brand depending on how they like to speak to their customers. But I think we've gained a lot of insights into just how consumers interact over text message, and I think that is something that every brand needs to learn is how do your consumers communicate, and the response that you're expecting might not be as clear as you'd like it to be or whatever. So you have to kind of, you just have to understand what what the consumer is, how the consumer wants to communicate. Some people don't want to communicate it all over text message, so we need to know that. So I'm not naive in that this is like a channel for everyone. Some people would prefer not to get text messages, and we have to be aware of that. So that's something that we can tag in the customer profile and say, this customer does not want to be messaged at all. So yeah, I think the voice, the way that the cadence of communication with the customer, knowing more about who they are individually, ultimately allows us to serve them better. And then obviously pairing that with very fast deliveries and in a service that exceeds their expectations is our ultimate goal. And I think that builds really strong brands and a great foundation to grow a company.
That makes a lot of sense. I just want to go back to something you said in that answer. You said not everybody obviously wants to transact over text. Can we talk about demographics? Like, are these typically younger users? Are younger generations more open, I guess, to transacting over text?
When we launched Dirty Lemon, our intention was to target, I would say older Gen Z or younger millennial consumers. I think what we found really quickly is that the majority of our customers were actually in the 30 to 50-year-old range.
Interesting.
So it was very interesting. And I think, what we learned about, with the Dirty Lemon consumer specifically is that, you're typically a little bit later in life when you really start like appreciating ingredients, and you're starting to like think about the things that you're putting in your body, and the impact that those ingredients have on the way that you look and the way that you feel. So I think that while our intention was to target a younger consumer, it was actually much older. And I think that was 2015. I think now the technology is ubiquitous. I mean, we have over 200,000 consumers that are texting regularly, and it spans from young consumers. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and she orders a specific type of Dirty Lemon all the time. So that's one consumer, and then we have 50 or 60-year-old consumers that are doing the exact same thing. So I think that eventually this will be ubiquitous, and I mean, you're seeing this in a lot of other industries as well. It's like I called an airline the other a couple weeks back, and I was waiting on hold, and I got a message from it was like a hold message saying, if you'd like to text us and handle this, whatever your question is, feel free, enter your number and we'll send you a text right now. I mean, that's an airline. Hotels use text as, their way to, elevate the experience that a consumer has, while they're in a room. So if they need fresh towels or whatever, you can text, the concierge and they'll bring it up. So this is already happening in a lot of other industries. And, I think that it's bound to happen with food, and especially high velocity items like beverages that, consumers are consuming, or customers are consuming on a regular basis.
So I guess we have time for one more question. I'm curious. You also sell through retailers, and I'm curious what the channel experiences, I guess, how they differ, and if strategically, even if somebody comes in through a retailer, if you're trying to kind of converge them onto the text experience ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal with retail. So when we first launched, we were using Instagram and Facebook almost exclusively to communicate with our customers, or I'm sorry, to acquire customers rather. That environment has changed dramatically over the last few years. And, what we've found is that retail is actually a great place to acquire customers profitably, and kind of help them fall in love with a new beverage product. And then after, that happens, the ideal situation is that, the customer is then going to, go into Google and, Google search a brand that they've found in retail. And we want the brand's website to be, the first listing on Google, which it, 99% of the time it is. And the customer ideally would click through to that website, and then they would follow through with the checkout, and placing an order for product and having it delivered to their home. So there is attribution through traditional retail that we're seeing, and and we look at retail now as definitely a big part of our strategy. It's what's ironic is that we, what was built with the intention of actually kind of pulling away from retail has actually become, that technology and those tools have actually become a way to almost elevate the retail experience. So it's kind of come full circle. And, to that end, we're launching Dirty Lemon in Walmart this year, which is a big move for the brand. And we have a bunch of other bigger retail partners that will be picking up our brands relatively soon. So those, all those things, I think, we've always said that we want to put the product in the places where our customers live, work, and play. We have the living and working covered with direct to consumer, but we need to know where our customers are spending their time outside of those places. We were really impressed by Walmart's strategy, which is why we partner with them. I think more consumers, especially, maybe on the weekends or whatever, they're going into stores and they're actually, especially in middle America, they're spending their times, stocking up on different things like in a physical location. And, that's a place I think we can acquire customers. We've done the same with, gyms and coffee shops and hospitality, partners, different hotels and stuff like that. Those are all great places that people are spending their time outside of work and home as well. So yeah, retail has become a big part of the strategy, and the ultimate goal is to attribute sales back to retail on the direct side.
Zach, thanks so much for joining us on the Tearsheet Podcast today.
Of course, thank you.